Hi there, today I'm looking at a light, a video light and a photography light. I've been using this light or lights like these for years, and this is the Nanlite Pavotube, and I really like it. This is an old version. It's got a few things that I would definitely change on the menu side, and I think probably have changed in the newer versions. But overall, it's a solid light. It's got good battery life, and yeah, the light quality is great. Just really flexible, really, really versatile. You can do loads with these things. But I wanted something smaller, and I thought, well, you know, I could get the Nanlite equivalent, but it's just so expensive. That's just going to cost me a fortune. So what I did, I went onto Amazon and just thought, I'm going to try something cheap. And by cheap, I mean probably about a third of the price of the Nanlite version. Still not mega cheap. I mean, it's still £50 for a small LED light. And I found this. I went with this. This is the Ambitful A2. They probably do different versions of this, but this is the one I went with. And it's just a small LED light that hopefully just allows you just some flexibility and versatility in your shoot to allow you to kind of chuck a bit of light onto a subject, a bit of background light, a bit of colour there, see? It's coming from one of these. And you can do all sorts with them. Honestly, I use them everywhere, not just in videography and cinematography and photography. I use them all around the house, and I just chuck them in corners of rooms and things to make the lighting in the room just more interesting. Because I like it. I love kind of having a nice warm light in the corner of the room or whatever. And then these are great for that kind of thing. £50, what you get is an LED light that will do all colours of the rainbow and various brightness levels, built-in battery, USB-C charging. Let's turn it on just by pressing and holding there, and you can see that it's come on in the scene mode here on the menu. This OLED display stays on all the time that the light is on, actually, so I kind of feel that drains probably more power than maybe it needs to. It'd be nice to have the option to turn that off. I haven't found an option to turn that off. Maybe there is one. But this is the scene mode, and this is the one I actually end up using the most. So you can switch between the different sort of things, three things you've got here. So the brightness and the speed that it rotates through the scene, whatever that might be. So I don't know. If you've got it set to candle, for example, let's change the scene from one of the colours, which is B here, which is currently set to blue. Let's change to got a bunch of colours. Okay, so this one here is meant to be just sort of watery, aquary, wavy type thing. And what it's doing is essentially rotating through a bunch of different sort of blue hues. And the speed that happens is determined by this speed setting here. And then, of course, just brightness at the top. So we can bump this right up to 100%. It's pretty bright, actually. I don't know how well that'll come across on the video, but it is pretty bright. And then right down, you can just drop that right down to 1%, where you just have a really gentle blue light, which just rotates between a couple of different shades. Downside, the actual, as it steps between the different brightnesses and the different colours, it's not particularly smooth, so it doesn't look that convincing. I always find that to be a problem with these lights. So if I go to, for example, there's all sorts. So candle here gives us a nice warm light and just kind of shifts between various warm lights. But again, still you can see those step changes. It'd be great if someone had a light where it was absolutely fluid. The smooth, some nice smooth changes between the colours. But not the case on this light. Get what you pay for, I suppose. But be aware if you want to buy something like this. But I find it absolutely great for just picking a scene and saying, I want a colour. I want one of my colours here. Let's go for the one I'm using over there behind. So I've just got that. It actually says purple. I'd call it magenta personally. But there you go. So we've now just the speed setting in this case does absolutely nothing. The brightness setting, there we go, just bump it up a bit. We've got a nice just magenta light to just have on in the background. Look, I could just maybe bring my mug in here, and I could throw a bit of light over the side of it like that. Or I could make you think that I've been being arrested by the police. You know, the normal things these things have on where they have some kind of strobe or cop thing or emergency services. So look, there we go. Make it look like there's some sort of police in the background. But it works, you know, if it's in context with the sound effects in a film, it works really, really well. But yeah, one of the ones I use around the house the most is this one. This is the orange one, and this is beautiful. You know, it's a lovely, lovely orange color. These lights have the standard problem that you get with all these lights. Again, the same with my Nan lights. If you actually have the brightness setting right down low, you don't really get a true orange. You get this sort of, it's dim, but it's much more of a sort of reddy color. You only get your kind of true orange when you bump up your brightness like this. I think it's just the way the sort of additive coloring is done by the LEDs. They just can't quite get it sort of perfect. But anyway, that's the scene menu. So we can change between the different types. So we've got CCT here, which allows you to dial in a color temperature, and then you can change the tint of that color temperature and the brightness of that color temperature. I've got this set for a standard sort of tungsten light, so at 2800 Kelvin, and I've just taken the tint down a little bit because I found that in our kitchen they were just coming across as a little bit green, so I've just made them a little bit more towards the red side, and again, works great. What else have we got here? So hue, saturation, and luminance. So of course, hue being your color. If you imagine a color wheel, I'll put one up on screen for you now so you can see what I'm talking about. A color wheel, hue is effectively like going around the outside of the color wheel. So you kind of start at the top with one color and you're going round, and that's what your degrees is here. So that's why you have an angle on that. So imagine just rotating around that wheel. That's what you're talking about there. So we'd probably start at the top of the color wheel, I think, with red. So that would be at 1 degree, like that. And then we'd rotate through, and look, we go through all the different colors, and they all kind of, you know, come through. Pretty good. I mean, nice and smooth. I've seen a lot worse when it comes to LED lights as far as the transitioning between these different colors are concerned. Yeah, some do a really, really poor job of it. And then we have also a setting for actually putting in individual RGB colors, which is nice. You don't always get this on lights. So hang on, let's just go back to that a second. And I'm just going to pop in, say, just one of green on there. So let's just bump up green. And of course, I'm only putting green in now, so I'm only going to get green out. But I can mix now, so I can say I want a certain bit of blue in there too. Maybe just put a little bit more green in. And you get that lovely sort of mint green color from the light. So you can really dial in absolutely anything you want, and you can preset these as well in the app that I'll go through in a second. So that's set, so we're back to scene again. As far as charging is concerned, it's all done with USB-C, and you can also power them completely by USB-C. So if I grab my power bank here, I can chuck it in the of course it's the wrong way around. Chuck it in the USB-A at the top, and now when I plug that in, you'll see that at the top right hand side it shows you that the light is actually being powered by USB. Now they do not charge at the same time they're being powered, and that's, I understand why they do that. It can be a bit awkward from a battery's point of view, but it is a bit annoying because it's been nice to actually have this kind of absorbing charge at the same time. So if it gets flat and you then go, well, I'll put it on a power bank to power it up, you kind of want it to charge at the same time, but it doesn't do that. But if I turn the light off now, then you should see, there we go. Okay, so this one's totally full. Fine. But this would then just start charging. So what I can show you on here is, because this power bank has the information, you can see that this is currently drawing off here 3.4 watts. And it gives me an idea that this thing's going to last 17 hours on this power bank. And this isn't a particularly chunky power bank. I think it's about 78 watt hours, or maybe 80 watt hours at maximum. So it's not, you know, it hasn't got a ton of power in it. But let me just put this up to full and see full brightness. Let's see how much juice we can pull at full brightness. So there we go. Now at full brightness there, and we have got 8.8 watts coming out there, and that's going to last 7 hours 27 minutes. So not too bad. I think at minimum it really drops off quite quickly then. You know, it's a standard LED thing. It's not a linear curve as you drop down the power settings. I'm just going to drop this back down, and we're going down to 1%. So this is the minimum brightness in this mode. You can actually achieve even lower brightnesses in other modes. But what are we on now? Let's bring the screen back on. So we're now down at 1.2 watts, and this will, I mean, this is going to last, you know, well over a day and a half. So what don't I like about the product? Well, the battery life is poor. If you do need to use it on the battery in the device, I mean, they've clearly just, it says here that this is 3.7 volts at 2500 milliamp hour. They've clearly just got an 18650 cell and put it in here. And at 2500 milliamp hour, it's not even a particularly good 18650 cell from what I can see. And it has the traits of being a bad cell as well. So not just a poor capacity cell, but also a bad one. How do I know that? Well, it's that typical thing of your battery will show 4 and it will show 4 and it'll show full power, and then it starts dropping off and it just drops off. It just drops off like it's falling off a cliff. And the power just drops right down and the thing will be off in no time. So you can easily get like a good amount of power. If you keep it at low brightnesses, you'll get a good few hours out of this. But it's just that uncertainty then, because you think you've got loads of power left in it, and then it will just drop down from 3 to 2 to 1 to off very quickly. And that's just not very reassuring. To me, that just says you've used a poor quality cell and you haven't really got enough capacity for what you're doing. And it's a shame, because I think if they just put something a little bit bigger in here, it would just make the product loads better. But equally, it's going to make it more expensive as well, isn't it? These are not high price lights. I bet the Nan lights do better on battery life. What else don't I like? Well, not too much else that I don't like on these, really. I think they're nicely made. This is all metal construction down here. Plastic on the ends, plastic over the light, clearly. They've got 1/4 screws at either side, and this is magnetic. So if I can't really demonstrate that to you with the stuff I've got here. I haven't got anything magnetic. What I could do, I mean, I could, on my desk here, because it's got metal frames on the bottom, I can just go clunk, clunk, and I can attach the light to the bottom. And can you see any of that? I'm not sure if you can or not, but yeah, it just attaches to the bottom of the desk really, really easily. And yeah, and also they have sort of flattened sides as well. Not a big deal, but it stops it sort of rolling too much. You know, you can actually sort of position it as you want to position it fairly easily. The app side of things, it works pretty easily. I haven't really had any problems with it. It is kind of annoying that as soon as you go into the app, it just immediately changes the light, regardless of what you've got it set to. It'll just change it to a default setting. But if you look here, just by the where it says scene here, you've got a channel number, and you can set either your lights to sort of the same channel number and control multiple lights at the same time, or you can set them to different ones and then choose that respective channel number in the app to control a light. So I've got this one set to 2, well, it's set to 2A at the moment, so I'm just going to get my phone. And I'm going to go English, yes, that's fine, power on, and I'm going to select my channel here, and I'm going to say channel 2, okay, and now look, you can see the light has immediately changed without me actually doing anything. It's immediately changed to the settings in the app, so I can kind of now just use the app. I'm going to rotate through all the colors. I can change from HSI to scene. I can up the brightness of the light. I can change the color temperature like that. It's all really responsive, works fantastically well, and absolutely no complaints on the app at all. Look, turn the light on and off. Super simple. Go to scene. I want to pick, what can I pick? One of the colors that I was on before. Let's go to red. Oh, it's already on red. Not funny. Orange, yellow, green, cyan blue, blue, purple. Dead simple. And as I say, you know, if you want to do a different light, I don't know what that one in the background's on. Maybe that's on. Is that on 1? I have no idea what I've set that to, but I could mess this up for myself. Hold on. It's on 4. There we go. Yeah, so I found the one that background light is on. And you can now see that I'm changing. So let's just change the color of that and make that blue instead. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe, how would it look with orange in the background instead? Does that work? Yeah, that's okay, isn't it? Not too bad. But, or just turn it off completely. But you can see clearly the control that gives you over the product or multiple products. So at £50, I think this is a good buy. The light quality seems to be fairly it's perfectly good enough for anything I'm going to be using it for, i.e. it might not be the best light quality if it's going to be the sole light for skin tones, etc. But if you're just using it for background lights like this, or you're going to just light sort of under a desk, or you're going to just add some sort of contextual lighting to a scene, it's great. And yeah, for £50, I think these are quite a good deal. So this is the Ambitful A2. This is not a sponsored video. I bought probably like 4 of these now, I think, with my own money. And I just thought I'd show you the product because I like them. And yeah, just improve the battery life. And I think we're pretty good to go, because other than that, they are a solid product. So I'll put links in the description, as I always do. If you'd like to support the channel, please use those. But thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.